If you don't stay down and you never quit, come on over here and sit on the far end of the bench.
We have, because it's coming up right about the time that we said we were going to start, we do have the first of our distinguished guests in the building, El Jefe, El CEO, the CEO of Variety Sports Network. Brandon Saffel is joining us, taking a break from being a new dad. Congratulations. We have not been able to congratulate you on this show yet, but we are going to be making our Monday Night Football picks. We appreciate you coming on, joining us for this 200th episode celebration, because obviously this is a big milestone for us, but VSN has been a big part of this. So thank you for coming on and taking some time out of your night.
Yeah, of course, 200's it's a big number. It's always, something that you can look back on, 4 or 5 years from now and be like, oh, this is episode 400, 500. You're like, oh, we just did 200. It seems like just the other day.
That's kind of what it feels like right now, Niko. I don't know if you feel that same way, but can't believe that we're here. We're here, and that's what we're doing. All right. Getting back to things, Brandon is going to make a Monday Night Football pick with us. By the way, check out Variety Sports Network. That's where Talking the Gridiron is. It's where a whole bunch of other great content is. It's a great follow on social media. So at Variety_Sports, and check everything out that's over there. The Chiefs host the Saints. Gentlemen, Patrick Mahomes took out his best receiver on his own.
Yeah, that was an ugly play. And I don't know. I know they've put him on IR today, finally. And I had heard rumors that they weren't going to put him on the IR due to a possible suspension that could have been looming if he would have been on the IR. So that's why they kept him just kind of out for however long. But he's going to be out 4 weeks at least. How he's not out longer, if he comes back in 4 weeks, is going to be at least, I think, a freaking miracle. Just I don't understand the way his knee moved and turned that, he should be back in 4 weeks. But hey, what do I know?
Hey, Tua started the game after getting knocked unconscious and blacking out on live television in front of the world. So
that's true. 3 days later. Yeah.
No, it's wild. But also, I want to point out that's a dirty ass tackle by Patrick Mahomes. If he makes contact with the guy that he's aiming for, the same injury happens. That was a terrible play all around. You threw an interception. Go man up and try and make a tackle. Don't dive at a guy's knee. Niko, I know you don't need any more fodder to throw at Patrick Mahomes, but you have to agree with that.
No, I absolutely do. But like I said, the Chiefs are going to do Chiefs things, whether Rashee Rice is on the roster or not. Worthy is obviously still a very, very good back. It's an offense that doesn't have Pacheco still, so two massive weapons.
Right.
But plain simple, the Saints stink still. The Saints are smoking their own shit right there. First couple of weeks when they're undefeated and really playing good football, they're not as good, and especially with the Chiefs on prime time. Do you think that the refs are not going to let them win this ball game? I mean, what are we talking about here? At home in Kansas City, Taylor's definitely going to be this week. Over under probably 5 times we see her. Like, they are not losing this football game, plain simple. As much as I hate the Chiefs, I'm not an idiot here. And plain simple, I'm not like what I've seen from the Saints thus far this season too. So yeah, the Chiefs, I think, will handle this game, even without Rashee Rice and Pacheco. The Chiefs will dominate.
Isn't there a rule against how many primetime games a team can have in a row? Because I feel like this is like all of them that they could have had. But I'm kind of upset, Niko, that you swallowed your pride and picked the Chiefs, because obviously everybody can see that I'm picking the Chiefs. I made that pick while I was sitting there waiting for my class to finish their assignment today at school. Brandon, you're also a brave teacher. What are you going with this game? Monday Night Football, Chiefs, Saints.
It's hard to pick the Chiefs. Hard to not pick the Chiefs at home. Arrowhead is a tough place to play. I don't know if either of you have been there before, but it is
I'm never going. Don't worry.
I know.
Niko will burst into flames.
Being a Broncos fan, I get that, but I mean, if you get the opportunity to go to Arrowhead, it really is something else. It's loud, it's crazy. So yeah, you got to go Chiefs in this one. They play prime time. And the thing with the Chiefs is they find ways to win. You heard it the other day. Like, it doesn't matter who's on the field for the Chiefs. They find some way to get a victory, even if it's by literally inches.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're all going with the Chiefs, so that finishes up our pick'em here. But there's a possibility if it was in New Orleans Monday Night Football, I start to see a little bit more where the upset could be brewing. But yes, the Chiefs, the NFL, the referees, the Taylor, the primetime slot. It's the first time that Troy Aikman and Joe Buck are going to have what everybody considers to be a decent competitively game on the TV. I feel like there's a lot of stuff that has to come with that.
Plus, the Saints haven't been playing as well.
Yeah, no, it kind of came crashing down. The conspiracy has been proven wrong. Derek Carr is not only a plant for whatever presidential election is going on. Brandon, we brought you on because you are the mastermind, the guy that brought us in. You reached out to us to join us onto VSN, and obviously we've been able to kind of connect with other shows and everything like that. Yeah. I guess when you guys brought us on, when you guys reached out, what was kind of like the initial thoughts of bringing the Far End of the Bench to Variety Sports Network? How did you find out about us? Are we really that loud, screaming all the way out here from the mountains, or what was kind of that process like?
See, I thought it was the other way around. I thought you guys sent us a message first.
I think there was like a mutual follow, and then maybe, right? It was close. We were pretty close.
I mean, I think just the Colorado tie, and the little bit of rivalry that St. Louis and Colorado had at the time. At least in the NHL. I mean, outside of there's not really one in baseball or football anymore. So definitely, I think that had a lot to do with it. And, we were just looking at the time. You're looking to bring on shows, bring on creators that were, maybe we're trying to do something more. Than just have a little, just a little talk show. That was the plan all along. It still is the plan in some way. I mean, we've had to like change up, the course a little bit to try to, push the ship in the right direction a little bit better, I guess. But yeah, no, I mean, it was just kind of happened. I mean, it wasn't really any like, it was just there. It felt right at the time. I mean, what we wanted to do was just again to bring more creators together across the bigger platform.
Absolutely, Brandon. Absolutely. We've loved every second of it. And obviously, you talked about how big St. Louis guy. I got a question for you. How do you trade for a third baseman, and in 4 years since trading for that guy, not win a single playoff game with him, and have that guy actually still want to be here in Denver and have more playoff success in one of the worst franchises in baseball history, but then he goes to one of the most storied ones and not win a playoff game in 3 years? That's my question. I don't know how that up or what the story behind all that is, or how a guy goes from a worse franchise to a better franchise and has less playoff success. I just want to know. I just gotta know.
Don't put that in quotes. We just lost 103 games. 103.
It could be a lot worse. I don't know. There's just a lot of question marks with the Cardinals right now, and what I mean, I wouldn't not anymore. So say maybe a week ago there was more question marks. So this past week, they had their annual end of the year press conference thing and whatnot. John Mozeliak is going to be out as president of baseball operations after the 2025 season, and they're bringing in Chaim Bloom, who was in Chicago with the Cubs, and he went over to Boston for a little bit as well. And he has more of a developmental side of the game. Like he wants to develop kind of the players that the Cardinals have now, because they have a lot in Springfield and Memphis, in Palm Beach. They have tons of prospects, really good prospects too. So they've just been, unfortunately, kind of bottlenecked up because of the way the Cardinals have approached free agency over the last couple of years of going after guys who are 35, 36, 37 years old and just doing enough to get by, basically. So it sucks at the same time not to see. And I know they're, Paul Goldschmidt's basically out. He's not, as far as we know, he's not coming back next year. So it does suck to see
The Rockies will sign him to the stupidest contract of all time, more than likely.
Well, I mean, if you ever looked at his stats against the Rockies here at Coors Field, it's like, yeah, I would sign that guy. Holy crap. Every time that he played against the Rockies in Coors Field, he had like 4 home runs in the series and 12 RBIs.
Right.
It is. I felt like from a distance, and obviously we don't cover baseball on the show consistently, but like from a distance, like you get 2 guys in Goldschmidt and Arenado. I think it was maybe 2021, that beginning of 2021 when all that happened, and we're sitting here 3 years later, and you're still seeing the same success. Like, it's got to be frustrating. Has to be.
Oh yeah. Even as a fan, it's super frustrating knowing you have, the guys two of some of the better players in baseball over the last 5, 6, 7 years, and they haven't had their opportunity to really shine outside of your Monday night baseball, Sunday night baseball type of things. So it's disappointing for sure to not see them have really any postseason success at all, or to even be in the postseason the last couple of years. So yeah, it sucks.
Let's transition now, because this is kind of where obviously you brought us into the network, and then knowing you guys are based out of St. Louis, but also realizing that your wife does have a Colorado tie, which is why your wedding was out here in the beautiful.
I did too for a little while. Yeah, we both did.
The beautiful, lovely state of Colorado.
Yep.
The Avalanche and the Blues have had some tense moments, especially over the 2 years that we've been here at Variety Sports Network.
Oh, yeah.
It has been confirmed Jordan Binnington threw the water bottle. That is no longer like allegedly. He said he came out, he threw it. I wish I would have thrown it with my other hand. You're still a loser because you couldn't even pick the right hand to throw the water bottle with. What are we expecting out of the St. Louis Blues?
That's a very good question, actually. They're going to be young. They have some veteran guys. You have Braden Shin still, Jordan Kyrou, Robert Thomas. You still have Binnington as well, who didn't have a awful season last year, even though the Blues record wasn't, it was right at 500. And they barely missed the playoffs by 6 points, where they struggled towards the end of the season, and they just couldn't beat the teams that they needed to beat. They couldn't beat San Jose, they couldn't beat Chicago, they couldn't beat Columbus towards the end of the season, which really was what killed them at the end of last season. But like looking at this year, I think you'll see a little bit more of a competitive team than we've seen the last 2 years. A little bummed out in some of the guys that they sent back to Springfield. I was really hoping Dalibor Dvorsky was going to stick around for this upcoming season and be part of the Blues on opening night. But they fleeced Edmonton by getting Dylan Holloway and what's the other guy's name? Defenseman.
I don't keep up with much blues news on.
Shocker!
Surprise.
Yeah, they offered sheeted the Edmonton Oilers kind of last second, and knowing the situation the Edmonton Oilers were in, they were like, there's no way we don't end up with both of these guys. So yeah, I think they'll be better than they were last year. Not a whole bunch better.
Are you thinking
be
wild card?
Slightly better. That's always the hope, and that was always, with how tough the Central Division is year in and year out, especially when Nashville loading up, how they did. I mean, it's bust or nothing for them. I think at this point, Colorado, I imagine should be decent. I know they're getting up in age just a little bit.
As of now, there's talks that Landy and Val are both coming back around the same time.
Yeah, I saw your post about Val the other day, because we had that show when he got in trouble and whatnot, and I was like, nah, this guy's probably done. There's no way he's coming back. And I saw it and I was like, okay, like, all right. Minnesota is going to be the garbage can of the Central this year. Utah, I think, is going to be a sneaky good team. I do think Utah is going to be better than we think. Chicago will be there. Dallas is going to be Dallas.
If you had to give, I'm gonna do this with each guest too. If you had to give me your preseason Stanley Cup final and winner, like early, super early. I know, super early. Give me your prediction, Stanley. Who's facing each other in June, and who's taking it home? Obviously, this could turn out really poorly or really, really well. So take that what you will.
As much as I want to say, the Blues are going to be there, I don't think they will be. But I don't know. That's tough. New York, the Rangers have a really good shot at it. Carolina is going to fall off. I don't think they're going to be anywhere there. Florida's still going to be. They should still be good. I imagine an Eastern Conference final for them again. But I think I wouldn't mind seeing, honestly, an LA Kings, New York Rangers style or playoff or Stanley Cup final. And
Kings are an interesting pick. That is not a team that a lot of people are like. They definitely got a lot younger and a lot better. That's for sure over the years, and they've really relied on a lot of big pieces in the off season too. So I don't hate it. I don't hate it. You got Rangers winning that one, or you
I think the Rangers get it. I think the Rangers finally break their little curse or something, whatever they're going through. I'm not gonna pick Toronto because I know that's not gonna happen. So. As much as I like Chief and Craig Berube and whatnot, there's just too much in Toronto.
I forgot that he was a St. Louis guy. Real quickly, because I'm gonna let you go be a father. You're
good. Yeah.
You have all that great stuff. We have our next guest in the studio, and I'm gonna bring him on now. Another VSN guy that does all of the shows, double, seventh inning stretch, talking the gridiron, his own show, Fat Boy Fadeaway. Darren Breyer joins us here on the episode 200 of the Far End of the Bench podcast. Thank you very much for taking the time. We got two dads on the show. Now Niko and I can really feel like deadbeat 26-year-olds. Niko's 27. I turned 27 in a week. Darren, thank you for joining us.
What's up, boys?
No, I'm
200, Jimmy. You made it.
That's awesome.
Niko, you made it. That's a good
Darren,
thing.
I don't stop and smell the roses very often, so it's hard for me. It's very hard for me. But I appreciate the both of you coming on here because, I mean, we started talking with Brandon about VSN. Darren, you reached out to our account when Brandon was approaching you guys to join VSN. Yeah. So we're kind of talking about that whole tie-in. But, like, in the time that we've known each other, we obviously do shows now. We have the little bit of a rivalry, the friendship. Tyler, Brian, all of that other stuff. Like, just, I'm glad that we met you. Like, that's one of the things that I wanted to make sure that we did with this 200th episode. We're bringing on guys that we enjoy doing content with. And VSN, I know that it's not necessarily as far along as everybody would like to think, but I will tell you, every successful podcaster that I listen to says like 400 episodes is when you really start to get there. So Niko and I are only halfway there. Yeah. So,
hey, I am honored to be on 200. I'm honored to do podcasts with you, obviously every Sunday when we football season. Niko, we've been able to kind of go back and forth there over the years as well, joining shows. You guys, along with Brandon, were some of the first shows I watched Far End of the Bench. The first thing I always say, your guys' kind of logo caught me. I know you got a new one maybe going as well, so I'm interested to see what you got there with it, the reveal. Absolutely. 200. So I have respect for you guys. You guys have good stories. And like I said, you were one of the first podcasts I kind of listened to as I was kind of getting into it a little bit too. So always glad that we were able to have it and honored to be on tonight with it. And my wife is gone thus for just a few minutes. No, no, we're good. So
is she listening? Do we have to say something?
I am sending her the link right. Yeah, no, she would just send me a middle finger emoji. So I just like, that's all, as much love for you. She'd be like, yeah, buddy. All right. Yeah. So honored to be on tonight. Thanks guys. Appreciate it. But,
all right, Niko, you got any final questions? I'm going to let Brandon go back, and he told me he had 15 minutes, so I'm going to try and respect his time. Any last things?
I appreciate you can jump on, Brandon. Obviously, we're very thankful for Eddie Sports Network, and like I said, we enjoy doing all the shows, and we have such a great group of shows, and like I said, as much as 200 is such a big thing for us, it's a big thing for the network too, and like I said, there's a reason why we have so many guests from the network, and like to have so many different minds because what you built, Brandon, and we could not be more thankful for that. So thank you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys. You guys have killed it from the day. It started listening to you. Started, from hockey talk to football talk. It's been a blast, and definitely looking forward to what the next few years bring. And I think Darren's the same way. I think we're all excited about what's to hopefully come in a couple of years.
We're always working behind the scenes. That's what I can tell you. But for that, be sure to follow at variety_sports. Daren, tell the family we said hello. Hopefully everybody's doing okay. Or excuse me, Brandon, tell everybody that they're doing okay. Daren, you too. Yeah. But thank you for joining us, Brandon. We will catch you guys. We'll catch you next time. All right. Daren, it's probably time. Here's the thing. This is why Niko wanted you on the podcast, because he knows that you know how to talk basketball. There's two major things. There's two major things. We're friends. I'll get the first one out of the way. We're friends. We're all friendly. We like that. He knows that you know how to talk basketball. So I need to take a little bit of a potty break. I'm going to let you two go off on basketball. But Niko, explain to Daren why the Nuggets are going to be the greatest thing ever known to mankind.
First of all, Daren, we got two big things. Obviously, we play each other this weekend. We play each other this weekend, and I don't know. You got to give me what the hell is going on in Vegas for your Raiders, because I don't know what the hell to think of this team after they lose to the Panthers. They come back and win this week. What should I expect coming in to this weekend? Because, like I said, we haven't beat you in 3 years now. However, it's been a long time, and like I said, I hate the Raiders, and I know you hate the Broncos, and I will never wear black and silver together with that ugly ass fucking skull on it ever in my life, and I know you'll never wear orange and blue together. That's just the way things go around here, but we're friends for it, so it's okay.
Yes,
so
we are.
Tell me what to expect this weekend, because I'm very interested to see how this matchup between two teams, where I honestly think the game could go either way.
I mean, would you be shocked if it was a Jets Broncos type of score? You wouldn't be shocked, right? You wouldn't be shocked at that. I mean, I don't want that. I mean, it kills my eyes. It's not even fun winning sometimes when it's like that. That's how I feel. I mean, I know the win's the win, but I still know it's crappy football. I mean, that's kind of, and I think I feel like me and you are now finally, and though we are apart, and we are far apart in terms of like it's weird. Everybody's like, you hate the Broncos? I was like, yeah, they're the most annoying team. They were great when I was growing up. I hated the Broncos. And they were great just 10 years ago. I remember my first game I go to was a Raiders-Broncos game at Oakland Coliseum, 96. My dad gets a season ticket, or 98. And somebody in there has a noose of John Elway hung up in like a stuffed thing, and it says like F the Broncos, and I'm like 12 walking into the stadium, and we're just like there, and I'm just like,
I have nightmares of going into Bronco Stadium when I was little and seeing guys painted to their head and toe with full shoulder pads, spikes hanging off their shoulders, full mask, and just being like, what the fuck is going on? Like, you don't even have to put a dude on a noose. You can see just the way your fan base looks, and I'm like, oh my god, these dudes scare the hell out of me, and just hating it from day one.
It was funny because my dad was on the opposite ends of the black hole, about 20 rows up, and we saw Darth Vader, a few other ones, but yeah, it was there. But I think for this week, Niko, I think Minshew versus what's your rookie again? Sorry, Bo Nix. Bo Nix, I guess, has the potential advantage because he's won the first year, but it really doesn't excite me. The Raiders are in the definition of 8. That's why their nickname used to be out here the 8 and 8ers, because they were going to be 8 and 8 every year. Now they can't do that, but you get my point. Is that's where they're going to be. My team is going to be 7 and 10, or at best 9 and 8. That's what's going to happen, and I think you guys have a great shot to win this weekend. You know why? Because we won last week.
That's fair. That's fair. I won't beat a dead horse, because obviously we talked about a lot of the Broncos Raiders earlier on, and obviously they're the two of the shittiest teams of football. We don't need to keep going on about. Let's talk about what we want to talk about. I want to hear from you from an outsider perspective. Who are the under the radar teams that you think could take a massive step forward in winning the NBA championship this year? And why is it the Denver Nuggets? Because people are not talking about us enough. They are picking us 5th in the West. 5th. Okay. I saw 5th, and I was like,
I have concerns about you, Niko.
Okay, I want to hear it because I have a lot of thoughts on what our offseason does, and we haven't really got to touch on a lot of it, but I have a lot of thoughts on what the future looks like, especially this year. What are your thoughts? Give me your thoughts.
All right. So according to your Nuggets, the reason I'm losing a little faith, not saying the dream is dead, not saying that, is a lot of it does hinge on Murray. And yes, he is known to be, and he has been known to be hurt once in a while.
You can say fat. That's what our GM says. He's fat.
Yeah. Well, and I just have concerns about, trades always happen, so I can't predict that. But I feel like you guys got worse shooting. And how is that going to help you when you have the best passing center of all time? It's only going to put more pressure on him, which isn't a bad thing. It's just when you have the great, it's like I see it with Curry now. It's like he's getting stretched so far. He can only win so many games by himself. And, as good as Jokic is a scorer, he's not going to be able to get 55 and like that. And, like not a consistent, it's going to wear him down. And so I do learn, and you guys lost KCP. I mean, there are some things. I just don't think you got good enough shooting, but you still have the Murray, Jokic, Gordon combination that it's still there if they can put it together. I just think you guys are going to need a big trade at the deadline. For me, that's how I feel about you.
From my outside perspective, I honestly thought that we upgrade this offseason.
I don't know about that.
I think from my perspective, obviously, I'll ride my team. I think KCP,
blue and gold tinted glasses.
KCP, in my opinion, is replaceable. Is replaceable. I think this season is a massive season for two guys. It's Christian Brown, obviously.
Yeah, big time.
Obviously replaced, and it is Michael Porter Jr. Because Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray, as good of a shooter as KCP is, Michael Porter Jr. still has one of the sweetest strokes from the 3-point range I've ever seen. He's just so damn inconsistent that it's so damn difficult. And obviously Jamal's inconsistency is tough. I think this bench got a lot better. I think not enough people are talking about the Dario Saric addition. Dario Saric, I think he's going to fit perfectly with this team. He is a guy, obviously, Deron Holmes, a guy that we drafted, I thought was been even better backup center. Zeke Naji, obviously, losing him is massive. But I think Saric is obviously can stretch the floor, can shoot outside a little bit. He's a good defensive big. He can play with Jokic, play with Aaron Gordon. He could match up with these guys. I think he is going to be a massive addition to this bench and giving it a little bit more depth. I am still up in the air on Russ. I was going to say, I will.
Where are you on Russ?
This is episode 1. I have probably bashed that man more than anybody.
Yeah, I remember.
But one of the people I've bashed more on this team. I need Russ to buy in. If he buys in, he is the perfect person for this team. Let me make that very clear, because he is a guy, if he buys in defensively and building the young guys off the bench, where Julian Strother, Peyton Watson, if he can build the professionalism and getting those guys to play at such a high level on the bench, he can do wonders to that bench. He can do wonders. The question is, can he do it? Because he has not been able to do it yet. That's the big question. Can he do it in a decreased role? And like I said, I'm going to be watching the Abu Dhabi games coming up and seeing what seeing how he fits in the rotation and what it looks like. Christian Brown will be starting to guard going forward, but seeing how this bench rotation looks, because I think Strother can make moves. Watson obviously is very depth, but that's the big question mark. Can Russ really develop those young guys and make that bench unit something special? Because last year it's what unfortunately was our downfall against Minnesota. It was our downfall is when they went to the bench of Naz Reid, Nickeil Alexander-Walker and company. We just had no answers, and obviously losing that 20-point lead in game 7 was absolutely brutal on court. And like I said, I think KCP hurts. That loss hurts. It absolutely hurts. But I think that the additions on the bench can make up for that, and that's just the faith I have in Christian Brown too. I think Christian Brown could absolutely do wonders for us.
I mean, it will be interesting what you guys do. Like somebody, was it maybe Jimmy that said he gained a little weight? I've been hearing the same little rumor, but whatever. That's regular.
That was not me. That was Calvin Booth. I'm just speaking what Calvin Booth has already said.
I just said, like, I feel like I'm not a big fan when you're dependent on two guys. Like, I know they're two great guys.
Dependent on one guy. Let's be honest with ourselves.
Yeah, you are.
We're kind of fucked still. There's no sugarcoating it.
I really love Murray. I think he's a good player. So I think you're there with him, but I just question the depth of the roster, and so we'll see. And you guys are considered a small market, so we'll see what happens like that with holding on to it and stuff. But you asked who would be a surprise team for me that could win the like this was a surprise, right? Like we would not make a massive run like Dallas did last year, or like OKC did at the beginning of the season last year. Like, what's a team that you really, really have your eyes on that you're really interested in seeing how they develop this year? I mean, the only team that could there's two teams that one I don't have a lot of confidence in it because they always seem to blow something up is Memphis just because they get Ja back. They'll have Jackson. I don't think it's enough, but they were like a 3 seed, not like a 4 seed right before he got hurt. So we'll see if he gets any magic back there. But the other team in the West for me would be it's got to be the Suns. Like the Suns still have Durant and Booker. Like that's the only team I could think of. Like I'm like Lakers, no. Warriors, no. So they're not going to do it. And then the East, it's the Knicks for me. I still think the Knicks. So
I really love what the Knicks did. I know people are a little bit hesitant about our offseason moves. That's one of the best. I mean, I don't think it's the best starting five in the NBA, but Brunson, Hart, Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, and Karl-Anthony Towns. That's a lineup that's a death lineup that can compete with the best of them. They have good defensive wings. They have good scoring. They have decent shooting as well. Like that's a team that, dare I say it, New York basketball. It could be the most exciting. Could be back. Like that could be very interesting to see how all that relates. I think, in my opinion, with that trade, I think that Minnesota got worse. I think Cat just gave us a lot of problems with his shooting ability, and so they're going to need a big season out of Nas Reed, and obviously DiVincenzo is going to help them in Minnesota. But I just think that Minnesota got worse from my standpoint. But the Knicks are a very interesting team too. That's for sure.
All right, I let you guys go on with your basketball talk. We do have current sports to talk about, and with that, we have our next guest, a guy that is the reason why I was in broadcasting in the first place. We met at a party in a trailer park in Gunnison, Colorado. I was a little bit, I couldn't really remember. He was able to remember a little bit more than I did. He remembered my email, and he got me reached out. And on the college radio station, Christian Saez, one of the contributors of the DNVR sports podcast sphere that they have out here in the sports world. Obviously a big baseball guy. That's how I know. We kind of bonded initially over, I played baseball. He knew a lot about baseball. We don't talk a lot about baseball on this show, but we are going to start talking about it. Yeah, well, you're around. I'm sure you're one of the DNVR Rockies guys, so I know that you already know. But 103 losses, I guess we can start there. How at least the Rockies aren't the White Sox. Can we all agree to that? I know Daren knows baseball too. He's one of the hosts of the seventh inning stretch. But Christian, thank you for coming on. Thank you for donating your time. We're not the White Sox. That's all I can say about the Rockies, right?
We're not the White Sox. We did get better than last year. We had 103 losses last year, 101 losses this year. So I think we're, a World Series team next year. No, look, it's, the Rockies are unfortunate in the sense that they have